Morning. Thank you all for joining us here today in celebration of my dad, Willie McDonough. Depending on when and what context you met him, you may have known him as Will, Bill, or Billy. But whatever you called him, you were lucky to know him. Our dad was born in Weaver, Mass. To a large, close-knit Irish-American family. He had 4 sisters, 2 brothers, and a mom and dad whom we loved dearly. Even after he and our mom moved us to Rockland, we would still return to Woburn, often to participate in family gatherings with tons of cousins, food, and laughs. While he spent most of his career working as a quality control manager, his job at the cemetery was definitely his favorite. Our Uncle Art described how Dad would have him rolling on the floor with his tales of digging graves and the various shenanigans he would get into. Our dad was unassuming, quiet, and a little shy, in part because it was hard for him to hear sometimes, but he was definitely a social guy. He loved a good joke, and a bad joke, and the occasional dirty joke. When they were younger, Dad and Mom would gather with Uncle Art, Aunt Millie, and Mary and Joe Upton to play cards, and lay down big bets with the jars of pennies they would cart from house to house. He loved to tell everyone, friends and strangers alike, stories from his past, including how he earned the nickname Meat Wagon, in reference to his attempts to downhill ski on old wooden skis. He was fiercely competitive in every sport he tried. At one of his softball games, he tried to outrun a little bunt, was thrown out, and proceeded to punch his hand to the nearest tree. Unfortunately, that happened to be the day he was meeting Cindy's parents for the first time, so he had to offer his swollen hand to Dot and Doug while hiding his pain behind a smile. Another time, he was so pumped from the basketball game that he had just played with our cousins that he got in the car and started to drive home, forgetting that he had brought his 3-year-old daughter Allison with him to the park. He tried his best not to have a sports temper tantrum around his kids. For example, when teaching me to golf, he went off into the woods to swear so he wouldn't set a bad example. But he never took it easy on us when playing. He would elbow 8-year-olds in the face while going for rebounds in our driveway basketball court. And you were never really a doubles partner with Dad in tennis. He went for every ball in the court, no matter where it was hit. When he played pickleball, he earned the nickname Wild Bill, because he could still cover the entire court with a speed and intensity that belied his illness. Even if he missed a shot, everyone on the court would know from the loud slap that he would give his thigh. Dad could teach himself to do anything and insisted on tackling every project that needed to be done around the house by himself. Why hire a professional when you can figure it out on your own and force your kids to help? He built new bedrooms and bathrooms, replaced wallpaper and floors, you name it, he did it. When he converted our attic into a bedroom for Shelley, it was midsummer and over 90 degrees. Not surprisingly, no one answered his call for volunteers to help lug the sheetrock and fiberglass insulation up 3 flights of stairs, so he did it all himself. In one popular family tale, Dad decided we should all pitch in and scrape the old paint off our house so he could repaint it. Apparently, we didn't have quite the same work ethic as our dad, because at least one of us, not naming any names, literally carved sad faces into the shingles in protest. Our dad loved music. He and our mom were always among the first to hit the dance floor at every event. If no one else was out there, it didn't matter. They couldn't resist the calls in rock and roll. And it wasn't just dancing. Dad loved to sing, anywhere and anytime. At his sister Betty's birthday party, he walked up just as she was saying thank you to everyone, grabbed her microphone and started with his famous number, Danny Boy. Even when his Alzheimer's got to the point that he couldn't remember people's names or how to do simple things, he would belt out every word, somehow, of his favorite songs. Several of the caregivers would take Dad out to give our mom a little break, shared stories of him singing and playing drums on the dashboard as they drive around town. Music made Dad happy. Ice cream made him happy too. The Patriots really made him happy, except when they lost and made him mad. But most of all, family made Dad happy. He would talk all the time about his mom Ann and how she was sweet and never had a bad word for anyone. One Christmas, he painted a beautiful picture for Cindy's mom, Dot, as a present. When she hugged him with tears in her eyes, he beamed because he was so touched. He loved Ireland, his Uncle John, and his Irish cousins. He adored his grandkids, Brady, Tyler, and Sophie. He cherished being their papa. He loved playing catch with the boys and sharing sports stories. When Sophie was a toddler, he would take 2 trains and walk 1.5 miles to her house in Boston to babysit. Shelley would leave in the morning, and he would be lying on the floor playing with Sophie. And when Shelley returned hours later, she'd find him in the same exact spot. He absolutely loved our mom, and even at the end, his eyes would light up anytime someone mentioned his beautiful wife. After Dad's 70th birthday party, he wrote us a thank you card that read in part, "Thanks for being there and making my day. A man couldn't be more blessed than me. I'm a very lucky man. No man could have a better family than ours." And he was right. Thank you again for being with us today. We hope that you will join us at the Rockland Golf Course at 276 Plain Street, Rockland, after this for some refreshments. Thanks.